And hey, welcome to today's episode of Secrets of Tomorrow's Leaders. Today, I like to say, I am your host, Cesar Torres, JCI VP of Marketing this year. Ooh, that's a mouthful. And I'm here with my two guests. On my left, we have Stephanie, and on my right, we have Alex. Welcome to today's show. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having us.
Hello.
Thank you.
Stephanie, Alex, you are co-chairs of, say it,
Get real.
Get Real.
Adulting 101.
Adulting 101. All together now. Get Real Adulting 101. So what is Get Real Adulting 101?
So Get Real is a program where kids can come and learn about financial literacy. It's a way that we also engage the community in recognizing that it is a gap within our schooling system. And so we work with the schools to get kids to come to a day where they learn how to essentially be an adult of all the things that it takes to be financially stable, or just to realize what it takes to live a life in regards to like how much it costs. Like
A gap within the educational system is what you said. Mm-hmm. And I think everyone knows that today's education isn't necessarily teaching life skills as part of the curriculum, right?
Yeah.
It's like when you graduated high school and you got your first bill, you were like, what's a bill, right? I would assume. So
or first credit card or student loan.
yeah.
Yes.
So in this this event they hold, what are some quick things that like you could just tell a parent, like, if you come here, your child will blank blank blank.
I think it would be like learning how to budget first and foremost, like making choices like, you know, Starbucks a drink, it costs you $7. Is that really in your budget if you're making, you know, $30,000 a year? And also it shows like students like, yes, we want you to follow your dreams and your passions, but you also have to be realistic of like what lifestyle that brings. You know,
That's very important. What
Yes.
lifestyle you want to live and what, unfortunately, you have to budget for in reality.
Exactly.
I would say it's a reality check, really.
Yeah. Everybody has a long list of like all the things that they want, but what is realistic for their situation is, I think, like the biggest takeaway from our Get Real event.
To teach these kids how life really is in this controlled environment, because this is held by JCI, and this is what, the fourth event?
This
event.
is the
third one. So I think I was at the first one, and I immediately fell in love with it. It was so cool. I came in to just volunteer, and there was just like 100 kids just walking around, going to different booths with their little like notes and papers, saying like they have it's like a real life RPG. If you like role playing games, you get a person, you get a life, you get your stats, which is like how much money you make, and you go around and it's this real life game.
What was really awesome is that this last one, Stephanie actually had the opportunity because she wasn't a part of JCI yet, so she was just coming and supporting us. So she decided to take one of the papers and she went around and actually played the game. And if I remember correctly, you had a blast. So it's not only a opportunity for these kids to learn about something, but it's also a really fun opportunity for them as well, because it's not just sitting in a classroom and getting information. It's actually like engaging in like the game and like the program that we have set up, and it's fun. It's a good time.
And decision making. Like you
Quick
really
decision making.
Quick decision making.
You have to see like what will you actually give up to stay within budget.
So you actually you're in there within the kids playing this game the first time. So
Yes.
how did you see it? How did you react to it? And what would these kids expect since you did it? You're fresh into it.
So I did volunteer first, and most of the day I was the person trying to sell them the highest price item on the page. But
The
yeah,
best insurance place, yeah.
Yeah. So then I did want to go. Even though I'm an adult and I know how to manage my finances, I wanted to be in their shoes. I wanted to experience what they were having to do at each booth, making those decisions. So I got a random profile, and within that budget, I went to every booth, and I had a great time because there are certain things that like I really wanted, like my own house, that wasn't necessarily in my budget, that I couldn't necessarily go spending so much on clothes and phones and all this stuff because I wanted my house. So it was a blast. I did have a great time going to every booth, and it's just like learning more useful tips from everybody at every booth. Everybody had knowledge to give you, and it was up to you how you wanted to make that work for your profile.
So essentially, this is like I had mentioned, like a role-playing game.
Yes.
Where students get a character and they go to different booths in a closed environment just to make the proper decisions, where at the end of the day, the goal is for them to be financially literate.
Yes.
So that is like an amazing goal.
Exactly. And I do want to point out some differences that we're having this year, because in previous years, we've had multiple schools involved and trying to contact the schools and have them come. But this year, we are focusing on Bowman High School. And what's going to be really cool is that this year, it's almost going to be a 2-day experience, because the first day before the event, the teachers are going to take the time and explain a lot of the things that we were in the previous events, like explaining like the paper and going over like a credit score and savings. But the teachers will be doing that at Bowman. And then come the event, that's where they will be playing the game.
Oh, cool. So it's a more streamlined, of course, after 3 years doing it, kind of. And now you have the support of Bowman High School, which is really awesome.
Yes.
So now they're going to have like a Get Real 101 before.
Exactly.
Like an introduction to the game that kind of goes over what a credit score is, all the pre-stuff,
foundation.
the foundation of the game. That's pretty awesome.
And we'll still go over certain points prior to them playing the game, but it definitely gives them an opportunity to at least know what to expect, because in previous years it's just like, what is this going to be like, you know, because especially it was our first 2 events.
Yeah, it's
and
very
so
new, very
the
fresh.
community hadn't heard a lot about it. But hopefully this year, and especially with the way that we're doing it, the kids will be coming in and they'll already have a good idea of their expectations on what they can afford or how they should be going throughout the game.
As co-chairs this event, did you by chance put in like a little bit of flavor? I was like, oh, like, let's do this here, do that. From your experience playing, is like, is there some personal things that you put into the game this year that was very personal to you too?
Yeah, well,
like what's making it different from you guys being a part of it?
I think every year that we do it, or that JCI hosts it, you learn from what worked and what didn't work last year. So as we're going through this process of getting it together and building it again, we get to take the good things that we liked and we get to modify the ones that we didn't. I do like that we're doing a little bit tweaks on profiles and just like different options for the students and making it more adaptable to where we're at this year.
Before, there were certain booths that were, I think, sponsors in the community. Like, there were actual businesses. Is that still being carried over this time, even though it's at Bowman? Are we still getting some community support?
Yeah, absolutely. We actually have 16 sponsors. I mean, it's always been something that the community has been very receiving of.
Yeah, they're very supportive. It's such a, I mean, who doesn't want to teach these kids financial responsibility, right?
Well, and exactly. And so we've had smaller, like more local businesses. We've had larger companies be involved. We're really just always excited every year about how involved the community wants to be within this program. And we honestly really appreciate that support.
And now that your partnership with Bowman High School, which is really cool, because before, like I mentioned, we'd have to, or JCI would have to kind of partner with the districts, kind of get the word out with teachers. But now this time, they're kind of facilitating the children for you. So that, I would assume, would let you put all your energy in sponsorships, getting community out there, getting an even bigger word. So what's your projection in this next scenario? Like, what do you think is going to be like double, triple the amount of like fun? What's the end result that you're really looking forward to?
I think we're definitely going to double, if not more, than last year, which is super exciting because just like
a little worried. It's a lot. It's a lot of
It
kids.
is a lot. It's a lot of responsibility.
We had almost about 100 kids last time, and so we're hoping that because of this agreement that we have with the school, that that there'll be more, which really just gives us an opportunity to reach out to more kids. And so we're hoping for in future years to have a better connection with the schools and to have more kids come out to be learning and engaging in our program.
Yeah, because I would assume that if this one is a success with Bowman, some other high school is going to be like, hey, did you hear that they got this like really cool program? Like, can we get that? And it could go like to Canyon or it could go to Hart. That sounds amazing. That's like the goal we really want, right?
100%, yeah.
This event to be everywhere, nationwide, I would say, right?
Yeah, and then all those students really learning and being prepared when they graduate from high school and going to college or going to the workforce of how to manage their money. You know, they're so young, they have so much opportunity, but it's not taught.
It's not taught.
Yeah.
Once again, the American education system has failed us. That might get cut, but I'm just saying the truth.
I think we're really at the cusp of real, especially how social media has really highlighted on these facts, that I think there is more of a want for this at schools, and so it's definitely something that I can see the schools starting to realize that they need to have programs like this, and so I think the hope is that there comes a time where almost like our event doesn't need to happen because it will be in the schools, right? But unfortunately, that's not the case at this point in time. And so we really want to fill in that gap within the community by teaching these kids.
No, but I do like your point that eventually it would be nice that the school districts or the education system would see that there is this hole and they would fill it, and then they wouldn't need a Get Real, right?
Yeah.
But right now, it's up to y'all's this year, which is looking pretty great.
I don't think we mentioned it yet, but this year we're going to hold it at the Family Child Care Center. Let me repeat that: Child and Family Center.
You can lift up the notes. I do that all the time. I have my notes all the time. Like, hey, look at this. I look at it like we pod decks. So you're hosting it this time at the Child and Family Center.
Yes.
Awesome.
Yes.
So Bowman, it's kind of close to that same area, right? They're kind of getting
across the street.
Yeah, across the street, and everything's gonna be open the doors, boom, like Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
Yeah. Well, that was the point, because prior to changing the location, because previously we had the location at the sports complex in Santa Clarita, but we had changed that because instead of having to spend that resource of busing the kids over to the sports complex, they can more easily access the event.
Oh, just boop, right over there. Oh, okay, so that actually helps in a budget sense too.
Yes.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when is Get Real gonna be this year?
February 28th.
Yeah.
February 28th?
Yep, from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m.
9 a.m. to 3 p.m. Wow, that's a lot of learning. It's gonna be great. But you said it's 2 sessions.
Yeah. But if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be rotations of kids. So it's not going to be all of them at once, because that would be overwhelming for our community sponsor.
Yes. And yet the teachers do it every day.
Right?
Yes.
So we're going to have rotations of kids coming in, which is going to be great, because we're going to have more of an opportunity with, like, not necessarily one-on-one, but with not as many kids coming in. You're able to communicate better on, like, the expectations of, like, the event and like going through. And
there's a better ratio of, like, facilitators to students.
Exactly.
Of course, you want it smaller and a little more concise so you don't get lost in the...
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this is also going to be really fun, because the kids that participate will be entered to win prizes. And we also are going to have them do an exit survey to let us know how we did during the event. So we can view those and see if there's any improvements that we need to make for future programs.
Maybe we could add a little thing. Add your email so we could probably contact you in a year.
Yeah, that's a great note.
Cool.
Yeah.
So, do you need any help from the JCs or any other community volunteers? Like, what are your needs right now to make this the best event?
So there's little jobs that we have and bigger jobs that we need help filling. And so if anybody is wanting to volunteer or just be there to learn about the event, if you want to be more involved next year, it is a great opportunity. So we are accepting all volunteers.
Dude, they don't have to be JCI members either. Right?
They do not have to be JCI
so it's open to everyone. If you want to volunteer as a facilitator, as a life checker, checking people in, probably just project managing the whole thing, just having a radio.
Yeah.
Also, part of the sponsorship tables inside too, for the community partners. Maybe if they want to reach out to you, businesses, people, parents.
Yes.
Parents. Yes. If you want your kids to learn about financial responsibility, right here. And if you work for a company, sponsor. Awesome.
Exactly. Thank you.
Website. How do we get in contact with you?
So you can get in contact with us through the JCI website. You can also contact us through, I believe we have a Get Real website. And so we will be posting and updating that very shortly.
Yeah. So that's Get Real, Adulting 101. We are the JCI Santa Clarita. You can check us out at our .com, our Instagram. We're going to be posting them. We're going to be posting this video, and we're going to be posting other ads for community support when there are committee meetings and how you can get involved.
And actually, our first one is coming this week. So I believe it will be on a day that's in my phone.
Right now.
Well, either way, this isn't going to be edited this
Wednesday.
week, so we can't.
Next Wednesday at 7:30.
Wednesday at 7:30.
There will be committee meetings Wednesdays at 7:30, probably monthly until the event.
Yeah, I believe we're going to have one once a month.
And with that, we end this segment with Alex and with Stephanie. Thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you, Cesar.
Oh, so much fun. Did you have fun?
Yes.
Awesome. Did you have fun? Well, thank you very much. I'm excited for this, and I'm excited for y'all. Check them out, JCI Santa Clarita and Get Real Adulting 101. Thanks for joining us. And we're back. Thank you for joining us. This is a new segment, and we're here with two completely new people. They did not just transform. These are two different people. We have me on my left. We have Jim and Arnold. They are co-chairs of the JCI Veterans Resource Fair. Super excited. This is a new event. And please, introduce yourselves. Who are you? Why are you doing this?
All right, I'll go first. My name is Jimmy McCoy, and I'm a prior service veteran. I did 5 years active duty in the Marine Corps, and I teach special education here in the Hart School District. And I've seen a lot of kids and families come in and out of the military service. I love driving down the streets here in Santa Clarita and seeing such a proud veteran community. And now that I volunteer my time with JCI Santa Clarita and we see this need to service this population, I got together with my fellow co-chairs, including Arnold, and we said, what can we do to service these folks? And so we're happy to come here and talk about that today.
Yeah, Arnold, this is a very passionate event for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a little bit of backstory. What drew you to this?
So for me, again, I'm also a prior service member. I did 8 years reserves, and it spoke to me like when this idea came about, because being in the service, you don't learn about the opportunities that you have outside of the military to be successful. All the benefits that you're willing to have, they give you a brief overview, like when you're signing your contract, but they don't go very much in depth. It's kind of like once you're in, you got to figure it out for yourself. So a lot of veterans, including myself, getting out of the military, didn't know what we could do. Of course, we had our GI Bill, we had some education benefits, but how to access that, on top of like mental health for a lot of the service members who do suffer from like PTSD or other issues, housing, a number of things that we didn't necessarily understand that, hey, we can have there's stuff out there for us that will help us. So for me, being a prior serviceman, as well as being a member of the Santa Clarita community in JCI, I wanted to give back to one of the organizations that has helped me become successful through my life and try to help those in need, our fellow servicemen to figure out those navigating those challenges of getting those services to help them out.
Yeah, and that's kind of strange, me listening to it. It's like, why is it that these services are just not known or hard to get? Is there some sort of disconnect somewhere?
Yeah, so interestingly enough, my bachelor's degree I got in social welfare and social justice. I love sociology. And in sociology, you learn that there are only 2 total institutions in the world. Total institution meaning your day is planned for you. You're told when to wake up, when to go to sleep, what you're going to eat, where you're going to go, what you're going to wear, etc. Those 2 total institutions, prison and the military. Mm-hmm. So you spend your time in military service having every thought put in your head for you, right? They want you to be programmable. They need you to be programmable. It's going to save your life. It's going to save the lives of your brothers and sisters serving alongside of you. But when the time comes and you have done your time in service and you're getting out of service, well, you're probably not as healthy as you were when you went in. Age is a factor. The high, rigorous demands of military life are a factor. And now you have to deprogram. And that's kind of very difficult to do. It takes a while. And so you're in a state of mind still on your way out where you've been programmed and you're trying to deprogram, but it's going to take a while. And they're trying to pump so much information into you in that last week of service to prepare you for civilian life. Frankly, it's just not enough time. And you have spent many years being told that, for example, pain is weakness leaving the body.
Yes.
Sometimes pain is just pain, and it probably shouldn't be there, and it speaks to a bigger problem than you might be aware of. And so I'm not saying the military does a bad job of trying to prepare you for civilian life. I just think that they also don't do a very great job of it. And if we liken a military service member's time in service to teaching in a classroom, a teacher has maybe 30 students in their class. Military service member sometimes has hundreds of people serving above them and hundreds of people serving below them.
Right.
And that's why you need to be programmable. So we have to take these things into account. That's part of the reason we wanted to do this Veterans Resource Fair is because, as Arnold and I both figured out in our own way, when you get out, you kind of have to become a private investigator to really dig into what benefits or entitlements exist for you. You might have heard it in that 1 week course on your way out. Maybe, if you were lucky.
Maybe. Is that something that you guys like met each other at JCI and you're like, hey, you're a vet. Like, did you connect and say like, oh, like, did you help each other out? Like, what resource do you have? Or is this something independent that you guys did by yourselves? And then when you met, it was like, whoa, I did that too. Let's make it easier for everyone else. Arnold, did you figure this out by yourself?
So, unfortunately, yes, I had to figure out a lot of things by myself. But for me as a reservist, my time is up. A lot of the benefits are only available for while you're in the reserves. And then when you're out, you have a very short window of like what you can still use. Like for instance, the education benefits. I can't use any of my education benefits any longer because I didn't do active service. I just did reserves. But I'm still eligible for like the VA home loans, a number of things like mental health services, the VA medical facilities. I can still utilize that if I have service-related injuries. There are quite a number of things that are still available to me, but I just have to do the digging myself. Right. I feel like, well, I don't feel, but what I know and what I've experienced with the military is, like Jimmy said, they teach you to be a military person, to be a sailor, a soldier, a Marine. They break you down as your kind of humanity a little bit, and then you're just trained to fight, close within and destroy. I'm not going to say the other words, but close within and destroy the enemy. That's kind of what you're taught, and making sure you're working good under pressure. And then once you get out, you're doing that for so long. That's all you know. And then, like Jimmy also stated, you're told when to wake up, what to wear, how to do things. There's no free thinking for you until after A, you have some rank, or B, you get out. So once you're out, it's just like, all right, go forth and be free. And then you're just like, okay, well, now what do I do? Who do I turn to? What do I look for? So for me, like, I had to find these things on my own. Then when I met Jimmy, I was like, hey, you were in the Marines. I saw he was wearing a shirt, and I'm like, hey, were you? And he's like, yeah, I was a private
shirt.
No, a graphic tee with like I think it was your unit on it, right?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, hey, did you serve? And he's like, yeah. And we started that conversation. Usually, military members can kind of scope each other out. And like, oh, you served, didn't you? We have a certain look to ourselves.
We're like this smiling man. This very good looking fellow right here.
A certain look to our, to yourself. And you're just like, oh, you served. And it's just when we came up with this idea, we were like, all right, how do we give back to our fellow service members who are kind of lost in the sauce? So we decided to do the Veterans Resource Day, and this is where we are now.
JCI Veteran Resource Fair.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. So what are you offering? What are your benefits that you're going to put it all over this place to offer to veterans?
Well, we're offering a variety of things. Arnold's mentioned several of them already, but I mean, just to put this as succinctly as I can, all of the things that we had to investigate and find out on our own, we're trying to bring to a single location on a single day for a span of a few hours. And our goal is to get veterans and their families there to take advantage of these. So we are talking about veteran service officers who are going to come out and help veterans file their service claim so that they can perhaps get compensation for their disabilities. We're talking about mental health services, family support services. We're talking about home loans potentially. We're talking about education benefits. We've got COC, for example, College of the Canyons, coming out to talk about Chapter 35, Chapter 33, Chapter 31, all of the education benefits that a service member might be entitled to because of their time in service, or their family members might be entitled to because some of those benefits are transferable. And we wanted to do this because Arnold and I, again, meeting up and talking about it and recognizing that we're in JCI. JCI's mission is to build leaders. And here we have both served. We understand what it's like to be a leader, but we also understand what it's like to be completely lost. And getting out of the service in a lot of ways was like having the rug pulled out from under you. And so we just want to help these vets and their families navigate what is otherwise a very murky system.
Right.
So at this fair, there will be people there already like submitting these forms. It's a one-stop shop. Like every resource there will be for a veteran. So someone just walking there will be like, all of this is available to me and their family.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, it's a fair, so we're giving them some food so the vets can eat for free.
Awesome.
Meals are going to be purchasable by the family members who also attend, but there's going to be games and things set up for them so that they can spend their time having fun while the veteran takes advantage of talking to these groups that we're bringing in. And it's going to be a bit of a time commitment for some of these vets because these things do take time, and there's a lot of information to be exchanged.
But the point of them having one hub,
right?
That's the selling point.
Yeah,
all of it's there in one place.
This is the first time JCI has done an event like this, and what we've noticed is there are veteran events that happen in our community. That it might be this month, and then you wait several months to several years for the next event, and it's always for one piece.
The Veterans Day,
right?
It was a job fair.
Right. There's a job fair coming up, but that's it. It's just jobs.
Just jobs.
One point I wanted to touch on when Arnold was talking about, you're trained to do this job in the military and then you get out. Well, a lot of folks don't realize that the job that you're trained to do in the military is not always translatable to what you do in the civilian sector. And even when it is, you might not have the certifications that the civilian sector requires in order for you to be able to do that job as a civilian.
For example, right. Like I was a corpsman in the Navy. So a corpsman is essentially a medic. So we're trained to suture wounds, do a lot of things that you would see in like a hospital setting, suturing, opening airways, some very light surgical, no, sorry, not light, but in some invasive surgical procedures done on the battlefield, or in actual hospital setting or a field hospital as well.
So after your service, you would assume
those transfer to nothing.
Nothing.
I think the most I could have done was challenged the medical assistant board, and with my training, like I'm literally opening your airway with a scalpel and like an adjunct, and that's what surgeons do.
Yeah.
On the civilian side, but it transfers. It means nothing this side.
So mostly the veterans after service are essentially like you said, lost. Mm-hmm. They have no transferable work knowledge to be put in the system, even though they're qualified to do it, but it just doesn't transfer. And this sounds pretty intense. This is a first time event you two are tackling. You're not doing it alone.
No, thank goodness. I mean, we are 2 of 3 co-chairs.
Very passionate.
We've got a lot of volunteers. And right now we're looking at 20 plus sponsors and participants who are coming on board with us to help support these veterans and their families.
20 plus for a first time event. That's pretty amazing, right? Yeah.
Thank goodness for all the support that we're getting for this. I mean, the moment you say vets, in this community, people are willing to jump, and help out, especially for the nonprofit and government agencies that we've reached out to. They're like, of course, we've offered spots for free to the nonprofits and government agencies, as long as they're providing an actual service that's not costing very little to no cost to vets, you can come. But, say, for instance, you're a business and, your whole, how would you say, your customer base is veterans and you're trying to sell them something. Yes, you can come along, but of course you're going to have to sponsor.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, obviously we love folks who cater to militants and, we love your apparel and your merchandise and things like that.
Love your coffee.
Yeah, right. But
you know who you are.
At the end of the day, we wanted to make a clear distinction and say, listen, we love you guys. Thank you so much for wanting to support us and being a part of our community, but we're here to provide services. I don't want to sell any vet or any vet family member at this event on anything other than taking advantage of the rights and benefits that they are entitled to by virtue of their service.
It's very awesome to know that you're very upfront with that, telling the sponsors and to the veterans who are coming to, like, if you come here, we're not going to try to sell you something. You are entitled to everything here. This is all already yours. Just come, have a good time, bring your family, and get everything done in a organized manner. It sounds like. And where is this being held? This great big event.
So on October 22nd at the William S Hart Park right here in Newhall, we are hosting the event. It's in the big wide open area next to the picnic tables.
Nice.
There should be plenty of parking right across the street from the Veterans Memorial in downtown Newhall.
Yeah.
So if you are a vet, please come by. By all means, stop by, bring a family member. If you just have questions, it doesn't cost anything for people to come. So it's a free event. Swing by. So
October 22nd, William S Hart Park, and it's going to be from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. So please don't miss the window. And I recommend showing up earlier rather than later because, like I said, some of these items that you're going to be asking for are going to be time commitments. And we want to be thorough with the information that we're giving you.
Yep.
Yeah.
And are there any opportunities for, JCI members or anyone in the community that could help?
Absolutely. So we would love to have more volunteers. There's always a need, whether it's coordinating who's going to go where and when to make sure that everybody is serviced with the food that they're requesting, whether or not we're queuing up in line, set up, tear down, what have you. We would love to have volunteers. Also, we can always deal with more sponsors. We would love more sponsors, of course. More sponsors mean that we're able to get more things for free into the hands of the vets and their families. Again, we just want to make sure that if you do want to be a sponsor, either you're there to provide a service for the service member or their family, or you're willing to make a financial contribution because we are trying to feed these folks and let them have a good time, and we want to be able to do that efficiently. So,
as leaders of the community, you are lifting others up, and I love it. So if anyone wants more information other than the JCI website, jcisantaclarita.com, you always have a website for the Veterans Fair?
Well, you can find a link to it on jcisantaclarita.com.
Awesome.
And then also
under events.
Under our events.
Yeah.
The JCI Veterans Resource Fair.
Right. And then you can follow the JCI Santa Clarita Facebook page as well as Instagram. And you're going to find that we have links plastered all over the place for that. And we also have an email address.
Mm-hmm. So if you have questions in regards to the JCI Veterans Resource Fair, you can email us at jciveteransresourcefair@gmail.com.
I just want to give a shout out to my co-chair, Arnold, because Arnold served as a corpsman, and anyone who's ever been in the Marine Corps knows that they are an invaluable group to have. Corpsmen literally save our lives on the battlefield. And here, Arnold, in his time out of service now in his civilian sector life, is again still trying to save service members by helping get them access to these services. So just want to give you a shout out.
Oh, thanks, Jimmy. And I want to give you a shout out too for coming up, with these ideas, along with Carrie, for, just being awesome and getting this stuff done. You guys have been, it's sometimes hard to follow because you guys are so quick with, with getting things done. I'm like, wait, where do I jump in? Hang on. Here I go.
Carrie is my wife, and I would not have gone down the long and rigorous pathway of getting these services for myself had it not been because of her encouragement and her unending support. So that's another reason that we welcome the family of service members to this event, because we understand that they are invaluable in this process.
I always said the day after Veterans Day should be Veterans Spouses Day.
Absolutely.
Yep, I support that too. Definitely. 1,000%. Thank you too for your service. And it sounds like this event is in very good hands. First time event, 20 plus sponsors and more. And I'm pretty sure you're going to have a lot of people attending it. So if y'all want to share, follow the Santa Clarita JCI Veteran Resource Fair, it's going to be blasted on our Instagram, everywhere. Just follow, tell your friends, tell the veterans, anyone you know. This is going to be here in Santa Clarita, October 22nd.
Yes.
So, for everyone out there, be there and share. Thank you very much for coming to the podcast and telling us about this event.
We really appreciate the time. Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you too. It's going to be a beautiful day. I'm looking forward to it. And thank you all for listening to this episode of Secrets of Tomorrow's Leaders. I was your host and still am, probably for the next 3 episodes, Cesar Torres, VP of Marketing. Listen to this podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Stitcher, YouTube, Spotify, I don't know, anywhere else. Maybe Instagram, who knows. But hey, I'll see you and listen to you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.